Hey everybody, welcome to J Stern Designs and welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I am going to show you how to petite the armhole of the raglan sleeve top pattern. And this is sort of a Q&A from a subscriber asking me, and she's also a student who signed up for my raglan sleeve top class I'm teaching for Mart Fabric next Monday. So if you're interested in joining me for that, there are a few spots left, and it's going to be Monday the 11th from noon to 4 on, via Zoom. So I will put the link to Mart Fabric for registration information below this video. And I thought it would be kind of fun to show you one of the simple adjustments that you can make to a raglan sleeve top pattern. And then certainly in the class I'll be showing you more things, and we'll be sewing up our raglan sleeves. There is an optional kangaroo pocket, which is a free download on my website. So it's right here. I love this. I think it gives it a nice sporty look. So you can add a kangaroo pocket if you'd like as well. And this is a short sleeve version, but it's also long sleeved. And actually this is a tunic I recycled out of my daughter's closet. She got a spot on it, and I was able to work around the spot to cut out these pieces for the front and back. So it's sort of a recycle, upcycle, short sleeve raglan. So if you'd like to join me for that, check the link below. And for today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to petite the armhole. Now, it may look a little bit funny. I think what I'm going to do is cut out the pieces here. I was going to leave them, in the paper, and then I decided it's easier for me to show you where the armhole is if I cut them out. So just give me a second. So there's the front. And really, if you are shy about doing set-in sleeves or sewing garments with sleeves, this is a perfect beginner project, because the raglan sleeve armhole really isn't, it's an armhole, but you sew the front, you sew the front sleeve to the front, and then you sew the back sleeve to the back. So instead of it being a circle that you're setting something into, or if, even if you were flat constructing, you'd have to fit an opposing curve into a dip. This is actually very easy. Okay, so I'm just putting this in front of me here so you can kind of see how where the armhole is. So even though it's not a round armscye, it's got a front armhole seam, and it's got a back armhole seam. And then, obviously in the middle of the sleeve somewhere would be where your shoulder seam would be. So even though it doesn't have that traditional circular armhole with a shoulder seam, the armhole may still be too deep for you. Okay, so what you would do is you would shorten the armhole and the sleeve a little bit differently than a traditional armhole and sleeve. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. So let's start with the front. So here's my front. Now the trick here is you want to make this adjustment somewhere below the neckline, so you're not fussing with your neckline. So I'm going to draw myself a guideline here. Okay, and then let's say we wanted to shorten that 1/2 inch. So again, I'm just going to be doing like maybe 1/8, because this is a little mini pattern piece here. So I've got the amount I'm going to take out of the front. So I'm going to cut along one, and then I'm going to slide it down so that the center front still matches up. Okay, and let me just tape that. So I like using a Sharpie marker because it will show us very clearly where the adjustment was made. Okay, so there is, we'll say, minus 1/2 inch there. And then in the back, we're going to do a similar adjustment, because if the base of your armhole is too low, you can pick it up by shortening it in here, okay? And I think that's easier than trying to fill it in. So we've shortened the front, and then if I look really close here, let me just put a little paper here. I know this is teeny weeny, but basically you would just true that back up, like that pink line right there. Okay, so now that's, oops, now that's trued back up. And then what I'll do is I'll cut it out so it looks nice and neat. All right, so there's our, oops, there's our front. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the back. And in the back, I want to do it somewhere in the middle of the armhole. It doesn't matter as much in the back because you don't have, you know, that lower or that scooped front neckline to avoid. But basically you're going to draw, you know, the minus ½ inch here. Okay, and then I'm going to cut that and slide it down like this. Okay, and on the back you can see, I think, a little bit clearer. It does make that little jog that we have to fix. So if I take my tape, my paper here, and stick it underneath, basically I like to find the middle of whatever the difference is and skim a little off the bottom and add a little bit to the top to make it a smooth transition. And I mean, it's very subtle. On a full-size pattern it'll be a little bit more noticeable, but basically that's what we have right there, adjusted. I've taken out a ½ inch on the front and back through here. So I'm raising up the area under the arm because I'm pulling this up, okay? So now the sleeve, I'm just going to put that in the middle, needs to be shortened so it agrees. You can see I shortened it a ½ inch here. That means I'm going to have to shorten it a ½ inch somewhere in here so they still sew together. And then the same thing with my back. Okay, I shortened it a ½ inch here. I'm going to have to shorten it a ½ inch there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a guideline across, and then I'm going to, you know, draw my minus ½ inch. So I'll cut that off. You know, when you're working with your sleeve, probably before I cut it, make sure you have a vertical grain line here that you can use to match that back up. So like if I just draw my line here, I'm just going to draw it up there. I mean, whatever. You want to make sure that you have a guide, because there's no center front or center back straight edge to line that back up. If I have that little line, then you can see now I can line that back up so it matches. And what that's going to do is it's going to result in a little truing up in the front and back armhole edges here. Oops. So I'm just going to tape that in place. And then I'll just put little paper on either side and just true up those two edges. Put one over here too. Okay, so I can add a little bit here and trim a little bit here, like that. And the same thing here, I can trim and add a little bit. All right, so now I've got a completed adjustment. Let me just get rid of the extra paper. All right, now one thing you may want to do after you adjust your or petite your front, back, and sleeve is to just make sure the armhole edges still sew together. So I would take my front and I'm just going to walk it right along to make sure it still matches up. And you can see up at that neckline edge that still matches. So then if I do my back, again, I'm going to start down at the underarm seam, and I'm just going to walk it right up to the top. And that one matches pretty well too. You may have an opposing corner that sticks up. Just make sure they match where the seam would be. All right, so just double check and make sure your armholes still match. And then you have a raglan sleeve top with a petited armhole. Okay, so that's how you petite the armhole and front and back of a raglan sleeve top pattern. If you'd like to join me for the Easy Fit and Sew raglan sleeve class with Mart fabric on Monday the 11th from noon to 4, I will put the link to that below. If you have any questions about this adjustment, please post those below and I will help you. I hope you're enjoying our Fit Tip Tuesdays. And then I will see you on Friday for FabFit Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I think I'll keep you in suspense as to what we'll be working on. So I'm not going to divulge any details on that quite yet. But I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and thank you for watching.